CHL versus NCAA route. Okay. First thing I have to say.
I love this. This
Yeah?
is great. This is great.
So what I have to say about this is it depends on where you live. Okay, if you're just looking at, like, you got to understand the mentality of a certain, from where you live. So if you grow up in Sudbury, Ontario, like I did, I didn't know what college was. I knew what the Sudbury Wolves were because I went to every one of those games. So where do you think I wanted to play hockey?
OHL, baby.
OHL. There was no question about it. I had schools coming to me and they gave me the tours and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. This is really cool. Well, when do I go? Like 18?
Mm-hmm.
That's a long time. And it was not my culture. Like I know that a lot of people get excited like to go to the U.S. colleges and they see the bands and the school spirit and the, you know, I look at it a whole different way. I hate it. Mm-hmm. I find it the most annoying thing in the world when I see people that are there just for the party and they have their little routines as fans and stuff like that. Like I saw Notre Dame and Michigan. Like that for me turns me right off because it doesn't seem like a true hockey fan. It just seems like a student event, and the marching bands and stuff that threw me right off. I don't like it.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off, but I want to say this as well. We're coming from the perspective of like, you want to go play pro after.
Yeah.
So some people might have, because that goes to your point. Some people might just want to go have the school experience, and like we're not talking about that. We're talking about kids that want to go play pro after. So I just wanted to throw that.
Yeah, but I'm actually just talking about like the difference of like where you come from and what you see. Yep. So if you tell a kid now that's born in Madison, Wisconsin, that plays hockey, and you talk to him about like I love the Guelph Storm, man. Like I love them. I love the OHL. I love it. I like college too, but I love the OHL. I was raised with it. But my son's there. I love it. I can't say enough good things. If I was to tell that kid in Madison, Wisconsin, like, you should take a look at going to Guelph, he'd be like, to where? Why would I go to Canada at 16 years old? Because all Americans, and I'm not generalizing, Americans grow up with the college in their face. Yep. College football, college. When you're a little kid, they say, we'll save for college. You know, people instill that in your head. College sports in the United States is such a huge part of their culture and their fabric that the biggest honor that can be bestowed on someone is to play for the school that they grew up cheering for. Yep. Right? Yep. So I never cheered for the Sudbury Wolves. I liked hockey. Yep. But I've noticed, like when I coached in the States, I noticed on Sundays that a lot of the parents would wear the Michigan jerseys or the Michigan State or the whatever it was, and it was like they were dead serious about that. That's not Canadian.
Yeah, we don't have that.
We don't have that. So we're looking at picking, you know, to get a kid, like, so when my son was going through this, I really tried to get him to really listen and look at the college side. And he was like, yeah, cool. There was one school that he would be like kind of interested in. But at the end of the day, he grew up right here watching these guys, going to games, watching me train some of the guys.
Windsor Spitfires, hometown.
And it's now. And that's what we do. That's kind of what we do in Canada. Call it right or wrong. That's what we do. So depending on where you live, you're going to have a little bit more of a bias. But it's not about having a bias. It's just, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. So I understand when someone looks at the OHL from or the Canadian Hockey League from the States, they go, well, that's kind of crazy, move at 16, because that's one of the questions that was in here. Yep. And then from a Canadian, our side is like, we look at, okay, I'd love to go play for Michigan. And they're really interested, or they might even be interested in me, but what do I do for the next 3 years? Yep. Or 4? Because we don't have a system for hockey. So one of the questions that Mike asked was, we don't have a system for hockey. Like, yes, you go, you can, there's junior leagues all over the place, but for a serious Canadian hockey player, it's not looked at the same as an American that goes, okay, so now I go play high school. Because they know it's hockey, their college starts at 18, 19. Yep. Yep. So they know they just got years of just playing and trucking along and getting to the next level. Whereas Canada, you're trying to get, boom, right there, right now, because you got to make that league and get there fast.
Yeah, well, so you think in the States, the highest level is you play college, which is 18. In Canada, it's CHL, OHL, which is 16. But for these guys in the States, they know I can play high school, or I can go play USHL for a couple of years, or NHL or whatever for a couple of years. And then 18 is when I'm going to make my choice. And to be fair, a lot of those kids commit early anyways. So when they are 16 or whatever, they commit, but they know that it's a process and they get to go play 2 years of junior to keep developing before they go play college, whatever. And then you flip that to in Canada, and it's like that process happens at 16. So it's like you're playing AAA, 16, and you're not picking where you go. You're not presented with options. You're drafted to go. Right. right? So it's just a completely different process.
Totally different.
Totally different process, and the mindset is totally different. So that's why you see a lot of like some of the kids in the States will sprinkle in and play in the OHL or play in the CHL, but guys in Canada, a lot more people from Canada will go play college in the States if they are fortunate enough to get a scholarship, because that in-between process where maybe they didn't make the OHL or the CHL in whatever league, and they still got to develop for another 2-3 years playing junior, and then all of a sudden, oh, now I'm really good and I'm 18, and then they get an opportunity later down the line, right? So those are just two very different ways to get either the CHL or the scholarship thing.
Yeah. He asked if there's a couple of things developmentally, choosing which one would be better for people, and more so for a late bloomer. Okay,
wait, sorry. So before you go to that, I don't know if you want to touch on it in this point, or if you want to touch on it in the one before. So basically, when talking about that first point, like NCAA versus OHL, do you want to talk about maybe like the mindset of the kid, like in trying? Let's say it is a kid that gets to pick, right? Let's say you're good enough where you get to choose. Do I want to pursue this or that? Do you want to talk a little bit about who is better suited? To take which path? Because I know I have a few thoughts on that, but why don't you start?
Well, can I talk about my kid?
Yep.
I'll talk about me and my kid.
Yep.
So when I was going through it, I couldn't give two rips about school.
Yep.
You talk to me about school, you lost me already. I'm gone. Talk to me about hockey, you got me all day. So that was not an issue. And to wait, like when I was a good player at 15, 16, like really, really good. I want it now because I think I'm going to play in the NHL. What was the worst thing that happened to me? I had 4 years of school paid for. It was a done deal. 4 years. So I got what every parent dreamed of.
Yep.
Okay. My son's going through it. We had good conversations. He's a good hockey player now. He feels like he can step in and contribute. He's got 3 years before his NHL draft because he's a late birthday. So he's got 3 years to develop into the player he wants. No matter what happens, he's got 4 years of school paid for. It's a done deal. Bad deal?
Good deal.
It's a great deal. It's done. So the worst thing that could happen, he gets 4 years of school paid for. So when people make the argument, well, NCAA, at least you get your education. So you do so in the OHL too. The other thing about this is something I don't think a lot of people consider. And it's not bad. It's not bad, but it's just something that people don't consider. How many kids know what they want to do to go to school at 17, 18?
Zero.
Probably not. You probably don't have a clue, or you change majors, okay? Number two is, does education have to be a doctorate in freaking engineering? Does it have to be a business major?
Yep.
So in the OHL you can use, or the CHL, your package can be used towards education. You got X amount of dollars, right, a year. So if you want to be a fireman, take the fireman course, should that be frowned upon? Well, that's probably more suitable to my son. He's more, I shouldn't say that. He's more interested in hands-on stuff.
It's like trade stuff, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. But like it seems that way. He also says he wants to be a GM one day.
Yeah.
He's a bright kid.
Yeah.
But so like right now at 18, is it more beneficial for him, like if he was not to go to not to play in the National Hockey League or to get a pro contract, he wouldn't want to go to no, I shouldn't say that. He there's a good chance that he doesn't want to spend 4 years in an MBA program or
that's how it seems right now.
Program.
Like right now it seems like that wouldn't be what he wants.
And a lot of kids could so you could take a real estate course. You could use that education for any type of a trade, fireman, real estate. You can use that education towards anything you want, which is kind of cool too. Yeah. So and that would have been the thing with me, is if I would have had, okay, you get to go to Lake Superior State, I'd be like, okay, and take what?
Yeah.
But take what? Honestly, take what? Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
So is the education worth anything?
Yeah, it's not forcing you to go to, that you have to go to university after.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. No, I agree.
So that's an aspect I think people don't look at either, is like, okay, you get an education, but what kind of education? It's like kids that go to school when, they're in a rush. Parents say, okay, now we go to get your education, and they take taking psychology and sociology for 2 years, and they realize, it's not what I want to do. Or teacher.
Yep.
And there's more teachers than you can shake a stick at. They can't even get a job. Right?
Yep.
So is it worth it? Is it a good education? I don't know.
Yeah. No, I agree. And then on that point, like this is exactly what I want to talk about. So you have the one kid where he's never, not that, and I'm not saying this about Charlie specifically, but kid that isn't super interested in education in general for whatever reason. Not that it's good or bad, but just this kid isn't really taking to the academic setting very well. So is it really smart for that kid to try to pursue Division I scholarship? Probably not, because they have to go and maintain an average and focus on school, and that is a component. Now, how serious do they have to take it when they're there? There's the conversation you can have about that. Like, sure. Yeah. But bottom line is, it is something they still have to pay attention to and focus on, right? So regardless of how low the bar is that they have to maintain or whatever, the idea is you're going there to take school seriously as well as hockey. Yeah. So if you're a kid that doesn't want to take school seriously, you're not really interested in that type of education, like you're saying, then is that a great path for you to take? Probably not. Yeah. Conversely, if you have a kid who's really takes to school and he's effortlessly doing well, and like, so I was a kid like that, where I didn't have to really apply myself very much, and I always got great grades, always. And so for me, if I'm going to take an option between school and the OHL, it's like, well, based on how I'm playing right now, I'm not ready at 15, 16 to go to that. So there's one factor. Yeah. Second thing is, okay, do I want to try to jump into the OHL at 17 or 18? Because I could still try to do that. Yep. Or is this school thing just coming really easy to me and I enjoy it? Because now it might be worth going to get a really, really high quality education, because it's not going to be something I hate the whole time I'm there. I might actually like that. And so for me, I was a kid that really liked that process. I liked being in the routine every day. I liked being in the study routine. I liked having to go to practice and workouts and all of that structure to focus on both things. That was something that I liked. Mm-hmm. And I would have liked that more than the OHL route, because when I played my last year of junior, there was a lot of nothing time. Mm-hmm. Right? So you go to your practice, you go to your workout, and then for the rest of the day, what do you do when you're out of high school? Right? Because you still have 2 years out of high school that you'd be in the OHL. Yep. So for me, I wouldn't like that. Like, because now I'm sitting around all day. It's like, okay, what am I going to go get a job? Am I going to start taking classes just for something to do? Right. I wouldn't like that. So whereas some other kids, when they're not as interested in that, maybe they would like that. You know. So those are the two mindsets that you should consider. So the first thing you said was based on where you live. Mm-hmm. That will determine maybe what your interest level is in one versus the other.
It'll influence you a little bit because of the culture you were raised in.
Exactly. And then the second thing, I think, and that's probably the most important in deciding which route you want to go down, because both are great for a variety of reasons, but which one is actually better suited to the type of person that you are, or better suited to the type of kid that you are, right? So
we have a couple, just right, that comes to my mind from Charlie's team last year, good hockey players, right? And okay, they all take school very, very seriously. They like school. Dad's a doctor, physician, engineers on the other side. But they take school very seriously. They do their homework all the time, and they take it very, very seriously. And for them, marinating the next 2 years, doing the hockey thing right, that's probably going to be a really good fit for them to try to get a scholarship. And if they do things right for the next couple of years, it's going to be great. Guess what happens to them if that happens? They get to play till they're 22, 23 years old at a very competitive level and maybe go on to something else. But for them, that's to me where they need to be. They can they can get better at hockey, get stronger, do all the things that they need to do, and continue with their education, and I think it's perfect for them.
Yeah,
but for my son, it's not perfect. It's the worst thing for him.
Well, here, this is the example I was just going to give. So we were in the gym yesterday, was in working out, and he says to me, "Man, I'm taking this computer science class, sick course, like it." The chance that Charlie ever says that to me is
when Charlie negative. Says that? Never.
Yeah, he'll never say that, right? So you can just see the difference in personality right there. Yeah. So this kid is already showing an interest in that path, whereas this other kid isn't.
That's right.
And so as mom and dad, and as the kid, these are the things you're thinking of. Okay, what is actually better suited to me? Because you want to go to your strength, right? Yeah. Nobody wants to do something they don't want to do. So if you're going to say, I'm going to go get a scholarship when I hate school, that's probably not the best idea, right? That's right. So that's all I want to say on that.
Yeah.